It's important to involve the residents in menu planning because you're serving food to them. It needs to be food that they want to eat. There's no point in creating a menu that you think looks good if no one eats it. Simply as care providers, we're here to cook and provide food that people want to eat, and that's the simplest way that I could explain it. So in order to do that, you need to engage with your residents, and there's many different ways to do it, but try and keep it exciting. Food should be exciting. If food isn't exciting, we're doing it wrong. Meal times, food, fluid, mealtime experiences should be positive experiences. If it's not positive, if people have a negative experience around the mealtime, it'll put them off their appetite. Things that we do to engage with residents around meal choices is we have strictly come dining events. Now this is basically just a way to inject a bit of fun into choosing food, taking feedback from residents, but it's an all-inclusive, it's a whole team approach. Everyone's involved, residents are involved, family members come in and join them, we get all the staff involved, and basically we try the newer foods for the next menu that's coming on. And we give scorecards to the residents, and they can score the food. If it scores poorly, we can boo the chefs. If it scores highly, we'll take the feedback from everything, and maybe we'll alter some of the dishes before we put it on the next menu. The national descriptors is a set of national guidance that was created by the Royal College of Speech and Language Therapists. It's used nationally all over Scotland by care providers or anyone providing care or providing food for someone that needs a texture modified diet. Later on, we're going to show you some clips of myself and Stuart using the process that we use to change food from normal texture into the various different texture modified versions. The process we use, we believe, and we're very passionate about it, is everyone that we care for should be offered the exact same food. So it doesn't matter if you've got a special requirement, whether it be texture modified, whether it needs fortified, everybody is offered the exact same food. So whatever the menu is that day, no matter what your special requirement is, you get the exact same food. And the kitchen staff should be skilled enough to be able to process that. So whether that be just fortification, whether that be texture modified food. When someone flags up as being of concern nutritionally, it's so important that, before you refer someone to the dietetics, even though that may be the local policy, as a care provider, the responsibility is that we should go straight to a food first strategy, which means offering a fortified diet. Now this process is so simple. Everything we talk about through this hub section or spotlight section is the norm. We shouldn't be looking at this as extra work. So a fortified diet is very, very simple. It shouldn't become an industry, and I think, in care we do have a habit of, especially the kitchen staff, just thinking this is a lot of work. It shouldn't be looked upon as a lot of work. It's very, very simple. Fortified diet should be provided at point of service. So in actual fact, it shouldn't be fortified in the kitchen in most cases. In most care environments, the food will be cooked in the kitchen, but then brought to a dining room to be served. After the food is plated, it should be fortified at point of service for that individual because they need it. We shouldn't be fortifying everyone's diet. When we look at supplements that a dietitian can prescribe, they are fantastic, obviously, and they do a job. But I think for me, as a provider, we can provide a much better fortified drink. The Fortisips, Ensures, they're all fantastic, but I think as providers, we don't offer them properly. And there's been a lot of research done very recently that's ascertained that these drinks just aren't effective or as effective as we would like. So for me, I think we just don't offer them properly. They sit in a cupboard or they sit on a shelf, and then we take it off the shelf, we open up and pop a straw in it and we hand it over. Now firstly, that's no way to serve anyone a drink. It should be chilled, it should be poured into a glass and offered properly, and I think people would use them. But as a provider, we can do much better. The kitchen can make up smoothies. We could even take these drinks and fortify them in the kitchen, chill them, then crush them up with some ice. There's a much better way to use them. Supplements can be fantastic, and I'm sure they work in some cases, but they shouldn't be used as a replacement for food. They are to supplement food. Getting to know your client group is very important. If your care home is situated in an area where it's a farming community, they would have a big lunch traditionally and a lighter dinner. But in the same token, if you've got someone who isn't a farmer and doesn't have a big lunch in that care home, you need to be providing for everyone there. Now, food and fluid is very important for the general or the overall well-being of anyone. Your mental well-being, your physical well-being. It's nutritional well-being is linked to every aspect of clinical care. We can talk about skin integrity, we can talk about bowel and bladder. When we look at fluids, there's lots of research done that, if someone's dehydrated, you're at higher risk of falling. So all these clinical aspects link directly back to being well nourished. If we get the nutritional care right, the rest of the care becomes a lot easier. A good mealtime experience for me, it can't be too clinical. It can't be task orientated. It's got to be a good, fun experience. So staff need to get involved. That includes kitchen staff. The chefs should be out there talking to residents around meal times. If someone gets distracted too easily around meal times, maybe just don't speak to that person through meal times. But everyone else, I'm sure, would be happy to say hello. Would be happy for some staff to join them for a cup of tea or a bowl of soup at meal times. Creating that positive buzz around meal times will ensure that people eat more. Our Strictly Come Dine events, the positivity that comes from that is, residents feel involved. They take a bit of ownership of the food that's been served to them. They see it as their menu. So, if we, Angie isn't feeling well one day, well, maybe Betty will say, I remember, Angie, we had that Strictly Come Dine and that was the lasagna that you loved. That can encourage somebody to eat. So it's all about being positive, creating that nice positive experience around everything, all things food and fluid. Any therapeutic diet that's required, is easy. Don't make it an industry. It's just what we do. So if someone needs a texture modified diet, as long as you work at it and you practice, it becomes easy. You can process anything. And in the clips that you'll see in the hub section that we've created this morning, you see the machines that we use and the process that we use. Now, that may not suit everyone, but it certainly works very well for us. Communication is so important throughout the care home. If someone needs change that's already living in the care home, or a new resident is about to come in, communication needs to be as quick as possible. Because if the kitchen, need to buy in or go to the shop and pick up some stuff that they don't have, if someone comes in that needs a gluten-free diet, whether it be preference or that it's for a clinical reason, maybe they're a celiac, the kitchen need to be prepared for that. You can't wait to meal times and then this person's got to wait half an hour after everyone else. So in care catering, there's so much support available out there that, I think a lot of care providers either don't know about or they're not interested in. But just to tap into some of that support from suppliers, manufacturers, whether that be food manufacturers or machine manufacturers, these companies all invest millions of pounds in getting the expertise on the care industry. So I would suggest that everyone looks at the suppliers, just ask the question, how can you help us? The 5 key messages that have been developed are very simple. It is just get to know me as a person, get to know what I like, get to know what makes me tick. If you get to know me, then you can care for me better. So, by care staff just, learning these 5 key messages and putting them into practice, what a benefit that will bring to, every resident that we care for.